I worship you. I worship you. You are here. You're moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here. You're working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. For you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. For you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, you're turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here. You're mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you. For you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. For you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. 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 For you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. For you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
So praise the Lord, my friends. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be given this opportunity to share my testimony. And I'm here to share with you an, an experience that taught me what it means to understand that God is always with us, what it means to know that our Lord goes ahead of us, to understand what it means that the Lord is fighting our battles. I in first hand understood what it means when Psalm 23 says that I went through the valley of shadow of death. I never understood those things. Still, uh, I had this experience, not a very pleasant experience, but definitely an experience that has deepened my faith, that has made me more convinced that our God is a miracle working God. He is a promise keeping God. He is a way maker and he never fails. Right. So this, my friends, is my testimony, and I titled it "Down is not a destiny. Our direction is up." Like Psalm 121 says, "I lift up my eyes. I lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence come my help." what do you do when you are stranded? You have no solutions. And the thought that crosses my mind is, what do you do when you don't know what to do, right? And it is when we commit our everything into the Lord's hand, and He's faithful to see us through. This story of mine, Dawn is not a destiny, is also an absolute vindication for me that yes, I went through the waters, but the waters did not drown me. I went through the fires, but the fires did not consume me. Joshua chapter 1, verse 9 tells us to be strong and to be courageous. And how I was able to stay strong and courageous in the middle of a very depressing and a very, very negative environment. So, this is my story. Lean on as I attempt to share, and hopefully, it is going to encourage all of you. So, everyone listening to me, everyone under the sound of my voice, this is AB, always believing Anand Bhatnagar sharing his story. So I'm known as AB, and a very, very good friend, one of my best friends, John K. John gave me this abbreviation AB, and I always wondered what AB stands for. Who am I, and what do I stand for? And I discovered that I am always believing, right? And always believing that yes, the worst is over and the best is yet to come, right? And I think so that belief of mine got tested to the core, and as gold is refined when it goes to the furnace, I think so my belief has got refined, has got more deepened, and I think so I'm that much better for I went what I went through. So this is my fight against the corona uh, virus, the COVID-19, and it all started on the 22nd of April when I tested positive. I got up in the morning and I was not feeling too well. I had red eyes and I was feeling feverish, and I could feel that energy is just sapping out. And because it was the peak of second wave of COVID-19 here in India, I said I would not want to put my family at risk and others at risk. And I said I need to get myself tested. And I did go and did my RT-PCR, and I tested positive, and that positive was not such a positive news. It was a negative news, and I just could not believe it. And I said, "Let me do it again." So I went to one place, got myself tested, and then drove to another place, which they had a drive-in facility. You could just drive in, and while sitting in the car, you could get your COVID test done. I did that, and the report came in about 6 7 hours, which confirmed what the first report had said, that I was positive, and I immediately contacted my organization's leadership team, my leadership team, and our organization's medical team, and they advised me to self isolate myself, and they advised me some medications. So I quarantined in my home, and I was confined to my room, in one room in my home. And so that is how it started. And I was told to report my body temperature and my oxygen level about 4 or 5 times every day, right? And I had that oximeter, and I started reporting. And the trend was that while the oxygen level, the oxygen saturation level was kind of dipping, my body temperature was very high and it remained constant. This went for a couple of days, and I think so. It was the third or the fourth day that the doctor advised that I should do an HRCT test. And to be honest, I never understood what that test is. I had never heard that term. For me, HR was always human resources. I'm a part of the HR team in my organization. But any which ways, I went to the lab to get the HRCT test done, and when the report came, that was also something that I never expected it. I was in absolute shock. What that report said, that the lungs are severely infected. About 70 to 75% of my lungs are severely infected, and all I have is about the balance 25-30%. Never did I understand the severity of what I was going through. And when I shared this report with my leadership team and the medical team of my organization, they said that you have to get admitted. And I somehow have this thing that I don't want to get admitted. But then this was one of those cases that I had absolutely no choice. I had to get admitted, and I am at the hospital, which is basically a hotel, and one floor of that was converted into a makeshift hospital. And when I wake up in the morning, I open my eyes and see that I'm surrounded with a team of doctors and the support staff. And what I see next to me is a huge oxygen cylinder. And my oxygen saturation level went down to about 60. And that was scary. So with about only 20-25% of my lungs left in good condition and my oxygen saturation level going down to 60, I was in real critical situation. And by afternoon, the doctors in that place decided that they'll have to shift me to a hospital which has continuous supply of oxygen, because this oxygen cylinder is not going to last me long. And they took me to the hospital, and I was admitted into that hospital. They started their medication, and 2 days into the medication, there was no improvement. And they put everything that they could possibly do. They gave me all the medicines, but the situations, rather than improving, deteriorated. And I believe the most difficult conversation that I've had in my life happened in one of those nights. I think so. This was the 29th of April, when I managed to video call my family. And I was feeling so weak, and I was not sure whether I will see the sunshine of tomorrow. And so about midnight of that night, I called my family, and I was sharing with my family, my wife and my daughter, that this is the file which has the list of all the investments that I have made. Uh, Again, first time experience of me getting into an ICU, and trust me, it was a horrifying experience. And there was so much of negativity there. There was, I don't know, it was not a nice feeling. The vibes that I got were definitely not nice. And so on that floor there were 10 ICU rooms. I was in one, so apart from me there were nine more. And I soon realized that this negativity is going to kill me. I could see people shouting, screaming, and they were panicking. And when other people were brought into the ICU room, so they thought that that's the end of life for them. So quickly, I had to decide that I'll have to become blind, and I'll have to become deaf to all the negativity that is around me, and I'll have to somehow uh, create that positive environment within me. So the always believing, the AB, the always believing, uh, got its toughest test till date. And what I did, I would close my eyes and have positive visualization, have positive reinforcement of what my life would be when I'm out of this horrible place. And had requested the medical staff not to put on the television, and definitely not to put on the news, because I did not want any negativity to get into me. And the other thing that I found it very, very difficult to cope with was that I was all wired. I could not eat, so I had a rice pipe or riles pipe, I don't know how you pronounce it, that was feeding me some food. I had a catheter um, uh, put in. I had the ICU monitor and the tubes connected to me. I was wired. I had every wire possibly you could think of all around me. So here I was lying on the bed and not knowing what to do. And they put in so many injections in me. I don't think so. I've had more injections in my life than I have had in those 16 days that I was there in the ICU. And I remember my hand and my arm going black and blue. There were hardly any veins that they could, puncture to put those injections in. So it was tough. It was absolutely torrid. And all that I was doing is praying. I was listening to some songs. One of the songs, and I would recommend that you go to YouTube and listen to that song. That was a song that encouraged me no end. It's a song titled "A Million Little Miracles," and that's a song that I would have heard a million times during my stay in the ICU room. And there's one more song which says "You Say," and that again was a song which, as I said, I would have heard it so many times. So I was listening to songs. I was listening to Don Knowing and that song that God will make a way. And somehow this verse popped up in my mind, Jeremiah 12 and verse 5, which says that you're running with the people on foot and they have weared you down. What will you do, Anand, when tomorrow you have to run with horses? And that verse, I think so, became the bedrock of my fight against COVID. And I understood that God is making me go through this to prepare me for better, bigger battles ahead. I understood that this is happening for me and not to me. I had that mindset that yes, this is happening for me, not to me, because the minute you say this is happening to me, it is a victim mindset. And I'm not a victim because the Bible tells me that I am an overcomer, I'm a conqueror, and I'm a victorious person. And I'm not a victim. I cannot have a victim mindset. And I realized that yes, whenever I have gone through such very difficult periods of life, those periods of trials, those periods of troubles, those periods of tribulations have been periods of preparation, have been periods of training. God was preparing me. And that I think so is the center of my testimony that yes, God made me pass through that so that He could prepare me for battles that lie ahead of me, challenges that lie ahead of me. And what I did on that ICU or in that ICU room is I requested the nurse and I requested and I said, "Madam, if you could bring a lipstick for me." The next day, and she was kind of perplexed that why do you want a lipstick? I said, please bring it and I'll pay you whatever is the cost of that. She was kind enough. She did not take any money from me, but I requested that, ma'am, please draw a doll on the wall, on the glass wall of the ICU room. And I said, put a cap on it. And I requested her to draw a few things. And I also asked her to write something there. And then she said, what is this doll? And I said, this doll is my daughter. And the cap that she's wearing is her graduation cap. And my daughter this year is going to graduate from one of the best universities in the world, and not just graduate, but graduate with honors. And I was looking forward to witness my daughter's graduation. And for a parent, I feel there can be no greater joy than to see the success of our children. So whenever I would open my eyes, I would see that doll. I could visualize my daughter's graduation, and then that gave me strength, that gave me a lot of strength. I could, as I said, positively reinforce those moments. I could visualize those moments that were going to happen in my life in the future. And I requested the nurse madam to write that statement, and that statement was, I will get out of this hospital on the 13th of May, and I'll walk out of this hospital on my own 2 feet. Well, while the doctors, when they came and they read it, they I could read in their eyes that this is not going to happen, because in their eyes they felt I could see nonverbal communication is also very powerful. I could feel that they are giving up on me. But as I said, I don't believe the medical report. I believe in report which comes from a God, and he was preparing me. This was not the end of the road for me. This was the road taking a turn and taking me into a higher position, and this was preparation for. So in my mind, I knew that God is preparing me, because God chooses people from the pit, not the pulpit. And I have to understand that we worship a God who's a God of the mountain, but He's also a God of the valley days. Even though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And I did not fear for a minute. And there were people who were asking me that, how do you manage to smile even when you are going through so much of pain? But the Bible tells us to rejoice and rejoice always. This is the day that the Lord has made, and let us rejoice in it. And I was rejoicing, and even if I could not have survived, I knew deep in my heart that I've lived a good life. My family would be very proud of me, of the life that I've lived, and above all, I know that I would get uh, a report of my life from God, and I knew that my appraisal of life would be God saying that, well done, my good and faithful servant. And I was having that shalom. I could sense that shalom. And shalom is just not peace. Shalom is far greater than peace. But yes, the peace that surpasseth all understanding is what I experienced. And again, I wish I had more time to talk about what I went through, but we have limited time. So I started improving, and it is just a miracle that I was able to get the medicines that I needed, the life-saving drugs that I needed, absolutely on the nick of time. And there were people who came from absolutely nowhere to uh, to give me those medicines. They arranged for these medicines. People I don't even know, right? So yes, I could experience God sending angels to guard me and to protect me. On the 17th of May, I came back home, and I did not expect that I will come back home. I thought I'm going to my heavenly home, but God has given me one more chance uh, to live, to make an impact in this world. Yes, this has been an absolute miracle. Uh, the condition that I was in was precarious, to say the least. The condition that I was in, not many have survived that condition. But yes, if God be for us, who or what can be against us? The name of Jesus is above every other name, and I believe that God has given one more chance to reach out to people and tell them that hope in the Lord, trust in the Lord. He never fails. Let us be strong and let us be courageous. Well, we do not have our own strength, but when I'm weak, He makes me strong. When I'm down to nothing, I believe our God is up to something. I did not understand why this happened for me, but I believe that everything that happens for a purpose, and glory to His name. And uh, just to end, I would want to thank my friends, my colleagues, uh, my seniors, especially to mention uh, one of my best friends, John K. John, and my immediate manager. His name is Shrikant. The support that they gave was absolutely amazing. I remember John would call every day. I don't think so, missed calling me even for a day. They would be in touch with my family, and yes, sorry for being a bit emotional, but this was the toughest test that I have faced in my life till date. But you know what? The God who is inside me is far greater than the one who is outside me. I could I could sense, I could witness, I could feel that verse in the Bible when it says, "No weapon formed against you shall ever prosper." Yes, they will be formed. The weapons were formed against me, but they will not prosper. He is a miracle working God. He is a waymaker. He is a promise keeping God, and let us trust in Him. And yes, down is not our destiny. Our direction is up. The devil comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy. But our God has come to give us life, and life in abundance. What stood like a rock for me was my faith in God, my unshakable faith in God, and the unshakable support that I got from my family. So I would encourage all of you to make sure that we don't take our family members for granted. Let's make sure that we communicate with them. Let's spend quality time with them. And our family is going to stand with us through the thick and the thin of life. They will be with us no matter what we go through in life. So, relationships and trust, I think so, those are the foundations of, of our life, and that is what I realized. And yes, you may want to read Jeremiah 12 and verse 5. That's a verse that challenged me, that encouraged me. And one last thing, please memorize one verse of the Bible every day. I would encourage every child listening to me under the sound of my voice to memorize one verse every day. Because when we go through those battles, I think so those verses help us a lot, and then they give us the strength to fight. Yes, I'm weak, but my strength is in the Lord. And let us be strong and let us be courageous, and yeah, keep smiling and keep shining, and never uh, let the world steal the smile of your face. I would encourage all of you to use your smile to change the world. I think so. The world needs us as Christians, as believers, as disciples of God, to stand strong in these very difficult days. So, thank you for listening to me. I hope this would have encouraged you. It has been an honor and a privilege of mine to share my story with you. Stay blessed. God bless you. Thank you.